Thank you guys for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Now, this is your first ComicCon, right? The first like full-on ComicCon experience for you guys?
Yeah, we screened the pilot a couple years ago, but none of us were here, so this is our first interaction with ComicCon. We're overwhelmed, so thanks for showing up.
What do you think of the experience?
I'm waiting for my heart rate still.
That is more cameras than I have ever seen. I should sit next to you all.
You know, one thing actually that I'm curious if we can step back to the beginning of the show when you're pitching it around just to get it on the air, what the reaction was. I mean, was it the same? Yeah, but could we give them a dog? I mean,
No. It was an idea or a version of an idea that I'd had for probably like 8 years before it got set up. And it used to get a really cold response, but there were different versions of it, and some of them sucked out loud. And one of them was an anthology, and one of them was a reporter, and there's all these different versions of the show, and it always met with a collective yawn. But it just goes to show you, it's like you hold on to an idea long enough, and sooner or later the market kind of turns, and the market of what people are looking for just kind of turns in your favor. And I happened to be pitching it just by a fluke of timing, right as Grudge and The Ring were like tearing up the box office. So, it was a really easy pitch to sit down in front of, a network and say, what The Ring and The Grudge are doing, in box office, I want to do that on TV. And of course, the show isn't really that, and in your heart, you know what you want the show to be, but you just need a pitch to get them excited. And they were really excited. We were actually in a bidding war over the pilot once the timing was right. So, a lot of enthusiasm for the idea. And then I wrote it, and then they said, we hate it. but at least the pitch sold. That's really true. I spent 3 months on a script and was like, here's my baby. And I showed it to them. They're like, this is unreadable. And they tore it up. And they said, we hate it. And so me and, co-executive producer Peter Johnson, I spent 3 months on the first draft. We tore it up. We rebroke in the entire story. I wrote it in 10 days. And that was the pilot that got shot.
Do you have any production problems shooting actors that are so tall?
Yeah, we build this trough that Jared just walks back and forth in. He's actually 7'3". And we call him, Kim affectionately refers to him as Sasquatch. Sometimes we have issues. We don't never have issues with the two of these guys because they're both strapping young men. But every so often, like when we bring in a female guest cast, it's like, well, Sam. And so that a lot of times we absolutely stand them on apple boxes off camera. So they're standing on like a little 2-foot riser to just kind of get up into Jared's orbit.
It's true, because if you have a shot that's over her shoulder looking at Jared, if it was without any lifting,
the camera's going to be
up
like
his nose.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which nobody wants that.
David's kind of tall, and Gillian Anderson is not.
You're damn right.
When you're doing a two-shot, it's hard to frame them. She's way down here, and he's way up here, and it looks odd. Or if you're doing an over, sometimes it's hard to frame properly. They would often walk together for a period, or she'd have to walk in and be the right height.
See, look, this is a jilly board.
The whole city.
The city of Vancouver built a jilly board just for me. For our scenes together, we can do walk and talks.
Perfect, look.
Right? Thank you, Vancouver.
This is a 2-foot jilly board. As you can see, it's pretty simple. It's a hunk of wood. This is not exactly what we built. Al Campbell, who was the key grip on main unit, asked Kim Olsen, who was the best boy at the time, to make like a pathway to raise her up. and it became something we carried. Main unit, second unit had 2 or 3 of them.
Left other clues.
The first one Kim made weighed about 30 tons. It was all wood. We ended up making one that was filled with foam, so it wouldn't make a noise when she walked on it.
Let's do a rehearsal, quick run through. And action!
You can set down the agility board to equalize their height so it doesn't look funny to camera when they approach in a 2-shot.
Door swings open.
You go first.
Fast forward, I want to say almost 20 years, and I'm on set in Los Angeles and somebody asked for a agility board. And so I guess it's kind of moved across North America.
So I'm sure there's a couple different cars that you use when you're filming the show. Obviously, it's a car question. I just want to know what size engine.
Yeah!
Is that an Entendre? It felt like one, didn't it?
It could be.
I honestly, there's the transpo department up there.
They're 427 and 1, I know. That's the biggest. That's the biggest one. That's the stunt one. That's the one we've got some hydraulic brakes. We've got skid plates on that one. We've got some stabilizing bars underneath it.
Jensen is a man.
Yeah. And then we have a few others that are just kind of, picture cars that run, but none of them feels good as that.
In season 2, Sam didn't get to drive the Apollo on screen at all. Was there a reason behind that? And he's going to drive in season 3.
Because it's my car.
That's the answer, man. Personally, in the room, I always get pissed when they're like, and then Sam drives the Apollo. I'm like, why did he let him drive it? So yeah, it's Dean's car.
Yeah, like his Dean just got shot in the leg.
Everybody, tell me a favorite episode. Do you have a particular one, maybe, whether you wrote it or you had a part in it? Was there one that you look back and go, yeah, that's the one?
No, I can't. I really like the pilot still. I fell in love with the show when I saw the pilot. The second I saw that ghost for the first time, I was like, that is the show I'm working on, for sure. And, I just think we do really good season openers. I really liked In My Time of Dying a lot. And everything Ben Edlund ever wrote.
That's true. I've got a few that are very dear to me. Obviously the pilot is among all the rest, but Dead in the Water holds kind of a special place in my heart. It was kind of the first time where I really got a sense of who Dean was, and I was able to peel back some layers. But I think more recently, my favorite, just because of the amount of the toll that it took on me personally, was the season finale of season 2, All Hell Breaks Loose, Part 2. After building a relationship both on camera and off camera with the guy that plays your brother on the show, and then to have to play scenes in a room with him dead was very, very hard and emotional for me. And at the end of the day, it was just I was completely spent. And so I think that really, because I was able to kind of go someplace and do that. And, those are kind of defining moments for me as an actor to be able to do that kind of stuff and really feel proud about it.
I love them all. They're all kind of, different versions of my kids. But my single, if I had to choose one single episode in season 2, is my favorite, have been Night Shifter, the Ben's bank robbery episode. It's just the concept was so tight and it was so well written. And Phil Segresha, the director who's directed some of our best episodes. If you look, the ones he did, they're always some of our best. And he just shot the hell out of it. And it was the most probably for me the single most entertaining episode of the season.
All right.
Yeah, you're welcome. If you don't choose one from me, you're fired.
They're all from you. They're your children. Yeah, I like a lot of them. Oddly enough, before you said that, I was actually thinking the Genie one. Your directorial debut.
My directorial debut.
Thanks, man. But also, Jensen, you went through a hell of a lot in that one too. It wasn't as like directly, it wasn't as built, the big lose your brother thing, but there was an emotional place that got to. That thing, I really loved that. And the story conceit worked really well. This is a good show, I think. I like it.
In Tall Tales, I've been curious about it. You stuffed your mouth with chocolates or whatever it was. How much did you stuff in your face and say CGI your mouth?
Those were caramels, and they were real, and they were not sugar-free, and those were my cheeks. I think I had, I want to say each take, I think I got in around 15. Oh my gosh. And when you have that much sugar in your mouth, I didn't swallow it. As soon as the take was over, it's like, but you get that much sugar in your mouth, and my tongue started swelling up, and my mouth was going numb, and it was ridiculous. This is the stupidest idea. But it was funny. So yeah, that was all real. That was all me, and it was actually my idea. So I was just supposed to grab a couple, and I was like, this is going to be a lot funnier if I grab 15 and shove them in. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely. How about it?
Dean's gone through a lot of pain in the last few episodes. What do you do to unload that when you've gone through such emotionally charged scenes?
Drink like a fish. No.
Oh my goodness.
My mother's shaking her head somewhere in Texas. No, it's it's funny that you say that. I just had a very emotionally heavy day on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and it was a full day of just me. Jared had the day off, and it was it's very taxing. I would rather do a full day of stunt work than a full day of emotional acting, because there's a difference between being physically depleted and emotionally depleted. So it's as far as trying to deal with it, I just try to go home and sleep and talk to my friends and call my family and remind myself of why I'm actually doing this. But it's just something that you do, and I've been doing it for so long. I don't even think about it. It's just like, oh, I've got a rough day today, and it's just for me it's just a hard day of work. But there's a certain gratification you get to at the end of the day when you really given it your all, and you're that wrecked and that spent at the end of the day. It's like, whew, I actually put in some good hours today. So I think that kind of gratification helps me get through it. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. My name's Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
I was wondering how long it takes for you to memorize your lines and what kind of techniques you use.
Well, after you've been doing it for a couple of years, the same role. Jared and I have gotten, and I don't want to say we've gotten lazy, but we've gotten very quick at the memorization process. It depends on how, like the stuff that I did last Wednesday. I went home on Tuesday night and spent about an hour going over it, looking at it, and trying to decide how I wanted to do it, how I wanted to play it. I rarely do that. I usually, Jared and I get picked up in the mornings and ride to work in the same truck, and so we generally go over our lines on our way to work. Then again in the hair and makeup trailer, and then we go block it and shoot it. So just the repetition. I can read a 2 or 3 page scene 2 or 3 times and have it memorized. So I think it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Hi.
Hi, I'm Carly.
Hi.
I was just wondering, Hallmark Sleuths Part 1 and 2, where Jared's dead, and you guys are like, Walton, how were you able to pull that off? Because that was like really good when you were like, when he was like dead.
I'll tell you what, it's some of the best work he's ever done. The cool thing with the show and the two characters is and working with Jared is that we work together so much that it's not hard to see him like that and then try to envision him like that, like if I was fresh on a TV show and I didn't really know the people that I was working with, I might have to think of somebody else in that position to kind of get me there emotionally. But because he and I are such good friends and we work together so much, it's like, he's practically a brother to me anyway. And it's not that difficult to trying to talk to you people. And it's just working with each other, and he and I were just able to do it. I guess I don't really know that there's a formula for it, but it's like I said, any of those kind of days they're very taxing. And I remember definitely the scene where I'm talking to him and kind of break down and stuff. I went to Kim Manners, who was directing that episode. And I said, all right, Kim, I got to know what you're planning on doing for this scene, because I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to get through it. So if you could minimalize your shot list and just shoot it from 2 or 3 angles as opposed to 6, it's going to help me, because otherwise I'm just going to dry up and be worthless. So he did. He and I collaborated a little bit and tried to figure out the best way to shoot it, the quickest way to get it done, so that I'm not a total wreck. And it's always his episodes too. Of course I'm going to forget the name of the episode, but where we're no. Although that was him too. No, when we're sitting on the end of the episode, we're sitting on the front of the hood.
Oh yeah. Oh, Tim played that thing.
And I remember that scene where I was like, he's your dad too, and I shouldn't be so hard on you and all that stuff. And I got so wrecked after that. I had to take a walk down the road because I was so messed up. And I'm just like, Kim, man, better quit that. So it's just, there's really no formula for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. Dean's jewelry, the necklace, the ring, the bracelet. Are we ever going to...
I don't know. I honestly don't know. No, what it was is, and I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but I've heard me say this before, but in the beginning, when we were doing the pilot, I said, I want this guy to have things, because he's in this supernatural world. He travels around. He's probably got amulets and things that are associated with what he does. So the costume designer at that point, and myself, kind of went through this whole, stuff, she just dumped a box out on a table. She's like, this is all the stuff that I've had, accumulated through the years and all the projects I've worked on. So we kind of went sifting through it a little bit, and I saw something that was really cool, and I saw another thing that was really cool, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this, let's do these. And of course I had to okay him with Eric, and he looked at him and he's like, okay, we'll come up with reasons why you have those. And I was like, whatever. He has not.
Is the ring a spinner ring?
What's that?
Is the ring a spinner ring?
No, it's not. The ring was a ring that I actually had personally, that I no longer, I don't even know where that thing is. But they just made a replica of that. And I just say that it's my beer opening ring. Because if you'll notice, I crack beers with it, and that's really the only use it has. The sodium doesn't have to carry around a can opener.